Hey guys, it's your girl Miss Hollywood Black, and I'm here today with my first ever YouTube video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about my BBL experience. I'm going to be talking to you about my whole experience, pretty much what I had to do to prepare, what I went through during the process, and exactly how my healing process went. So pretty much we're going to get right to it. I got my BBL done in June, and I got it done here in Aventura, Florida. And I did it with Dr. Geronimo, and he was really great. And pretty much I'm going to just let you know, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing I had to do when I got a BBL was, obviously I reached out to the doctor, his team, and I, set my appointment up, went through that whole process. And in that process, they require you to pretty much get health screenings, and pretty much take like supplements, vitamins. So, you get your blood work done, and pretty much they're just checking to make sure that you are healthy enough to go under surgery. They want to know if you had any prior surgery. They want to know your health, your history before they even, say you qualify to get surgery done. So once I did my blood work and I had my physical, all my health screen, I had to go to my primary doctor. He did his thing, checking me, my blood levels, everything. And he gave me the clear to go ahead and have my BBL done. So I took that paperwork back to, my doctor's my chosen doctor's office for my surgery. And from there, they let me know, whatever I had to do. My doctor did let me know I needed to take iron supplements. So he did prescribe me iron supplements, and that was Fibrosis sulfate, which is an iron pill. And he also recommended that I take a few other things, which was folic acid. And I got these from my local pharmacy, GNC. Folic acid, I had to take vitamin C, and then I was also taking elderberry. I was taking elderberry prior to this, with COVID and everything. But yeah, also elderberry. So I took these every day, and I would take it in the morning before I had my breakfast, and I would take it with orange juice just to make sure, I could get my iron up as quickly as possible and as high as I needed to be. And I still continue to do that now. So those were the things that I had to take before my surgery. And then, closer to my surgery day, the day before I went in again, they check everything again to make sure everything's okay. And we did that. And then the morning of my surgery. So it's the morning of my surgery. Everybody's at my house because I have a very, very close friendship with my sisters, my mom, and my best friends. So they're here. My children are here. Everyone's here. So the night before, I'm like, okay, I'm nervous, but I'm so excited because I know this is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and I know it's going to make me happy. So, and I want it to be snatched, okay? Let's be real, honey. I want it to be snatched, baby. After 2 kids, I want it to be snatched, okay? So, yeah. So, the morning of my surgery, I'm up, the night before, they let you know what to shower with, antibacterial soap. So, I'm doing that, going through it. I put on my muumuu. They tell you to wear a little loose-fitting dress. So, I got my little house dress on and some socks and, my bonnet. And I'm just like, okay, today is the day, baby. Like, it's happening. Like, it's about to happen. So, okay, so I'm getting ready. I'm in the car. We're driving. It's me, my mom, my best friend, and my other best friend. They're 2 best friends. So they're in the car. We're all in the car, and we're driving there. So we get there. They're like, oh my gosh, let's pray. So, we pray, that I have a safe surgery and that everything goes well. And, just asking God to cover these surgeons as, they take my body into their responsibility. So, just pretty much I'm about to have a serious surgery. So we say our prayer, and then my doctor calls and he's like, hey, I'm just calling you to see if you're on your way. We're preparing for you now. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm downstairs. So at that point, I'm like, all right, y'all boys, like, I gotta go. It is like, love y'all. It's time to do this. So I just get out the car and go upstairs. So my mom, afterwards, I found out my mom was like freaking out. But they was like, girl, you just jumped out the car like a G. Like, we was all sitting there. I'm assuming they just sat. Well, they told me they sat there after I jumped out because I was just like, yeah, I'm out. And they were so nervous. So, okay, so I got upstairs, got in the room. Literally, when I walked in, he was there. He was like, hey, Chanella, how you doing? You know, how you feeling this morning? Are you excited? So they take me in the room. They're like, okay, go ahead and give us a urine sample and dress down into your gown. So I get the urine sample, and I'm like, as I'm doing it, I'm like, yo, like, there's no waiting. This is happening like right now. So do the urine sample. I go in the room. I dress down, got on my surgery garment, and I'm sitting there waiting for the doctor. And as I'm waiting, you know, obviously I'm on my phone. I'm like texting everybody, you know, I'm about to go in the operating room now. He comes in, and then, you know, he tells you to undress. So I undress, and then he has a permanent marker, and he's like, hold your arms out. And he's telling me to, you know, do the full 360. So as I'm doing that, he's pretty much marking on my body in the areas that he would be removing fat from, or where incisions would be, or, you know, what focus areas he needed. And then he asked me what was my, you know, what did I want? What look was I going for as far as my body? So I pretty much let him know what I wanted, and that I wanted it, you know, a natural look, but I also wanted it to look very like shapy. So after that, he told me, you know, he was like, he's excited to do this. He knows I'm going to look very well. He said he's excited to see my, you know, my after. So from there, he tells me to wait. So then it's probably like a minute. The nurse comes in and she's like, come on, baby. So she walks me in, walk into the room. When I walk into the room, for some reason, I just assumed that it was going to be me and the doctor and getting my surgery. But I walked into this room. You know, I've had a surgery before, so I don't know why I didn't think into that definition, but that, you know, I'm just letting you know how my experience was. But I walk in, and it's like a room full of people, and it's like probably like maybe 6 to 8 people in the room, and they're all like, hey, when I walk in, and there's like bright operating lights. So in this moment, it was just like a deer in headlights moment for me, because it was like, open the door, boom, lights, people, surprise, like, and I'm like, surprise. So I go in, and then everyone's like, hey, how are you? And so, you know, you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be good. And the anesthesiologist, she's there. She's like, how are you? She, you know, everyone was pretty much very intimate. You know, they were like, you're going to be good. You're going to look great. Are you, you know, excited? You know, we're happy. We're going to take good care of you. So that like brought the tension a little bit down for me. So I'm sitting on the bed. He's like, okay, you know, give her your arm. She's going to insert your IV. So doing that, and my heart is like beating. And on this side is the woman who's about to insert my IV. And then on this side is the doctor. And then he's talking to me. And then, you know, he's like, you're going to feel a slight burn in your arm, you know, when it goes. So then I'm like, I don't feel a burn. And I'm like, you know, talking to them and answering, you know, the questions. Are you excited? You know, da. So he walks around, and by the time he makes it to this side of me, he grabs my hands. He tells me, I'm going to take very good care of you. Everything is going to be just fine, and you're going to look great. And he kisses me on the forehead. And he was like, do you feel anything? And I was like, no. But I began to have a taste in the back of my throat, where the burning, it was like a burning sensation and also like a funny taste. So I knew that was, I'm about to be knocked out, honey. So at that point, I just laid back and I relaxed and I closed my eyes. And when I closed my eyes, that was that. And fast forward, me waking up, baby, whew, me waking up. Okay, so I wake up, and baby, I just feel like my body was ran over, honey. Tractor trailer smacked me, school bus, like that's how I felt. And I'm laying on my stomach. So as I'm laying there, I'm in so much pain, and I'm so like I still feel so groggy, foggy, whatever. Like I feel like still kind of sedated a little. So I'm like telling my brain is saying, lift your head up so you can see the room, because I'm trying to look at the room, because I'm facing this way, and all I see is just pretty much like a wall in the cabinet. So I get the strength to turn my head this way, and when I turn this way, I'm laying on a bed, and then there's a bed across from me where there's another girl as well, and she's knocked out still. Then there's 2 nurses sitting in a chair. And when I turn my head, she looks up and noticed that I wake up. And she was like, hey, honey, how are you feeling? Are you okay? And the only thing, baby, the only thing that came out my mouth, ooh, it's raining outside. But the only thing that came out my mouth was, help me, please. And she was like, oh, I know. And I was like, and then it dawned on me, and I'm like, no, I'm confused. I was laying on my back. I was on my back. And when I woke up and said, help me, please, it was because I was on my back. And when I was on my back, it was because when I woke up, my whole body felt sore, but my butt was like, I could feel the pressure of me laying on my butt. So I was like, can you turn me over? So then they come over, they turn me over to my stomach. So now I'm on my stomach. And as I'm on my stomach, you know, I'm still like in and out trying to like keep myself up because I'm trying to wake up. And they're telling me to just relax, you know, I'm going to be going soon. So I was like, baby, I'm in pain, honey. I was like, where's my phone? Honey, where's my phone? Give it to me now. And she was like, you want your phone? Yes, I want my phone. So I get my phone and I call my best friend. And I'm like, where y'all at? Come get me now. And she was like, you're done? We're on our way. We're on our way. So while I was having my surgery, I had them go pick up my prescription. I filled it the night before so that it would be ready. And they went to pick it up and they were on their way back to me. So at this point, they're telling me they're on their way to pick me up. The nurse is like, okay, baby, you're going to get up. So they helped me up. They put me into a wheelchair. When they put me in the wheelchair, they put me on a BBL pillow. So my butt is not sitting directly on the chair, but I'm like balancing. And then, you know, they put the blanket around you and they're rolling me out. And I'm just like, every bump in the roll as she's rolling me out is like, oh my gosh, like my body is like in pain. So then I take my phone again and I call my best friend again. And I'm like, how far are you guys? She was like, we're coming up the garage ramp now, because they make them pick you up in the parking garage, because it's easier for you to get into the car. So they come, I'm outside, they're rolling me to them. I'm like to my best friend, give me a pain pill now. So she grabs the pain pill, she gives me a water. I take the pill and I'm just like, okay, get me home. I want to lay down. So in the car, the ride in the car to home. Okay. From the doctor's office to home. In the car, I lay down on my stomach. My mom has a minivan truck. So I entered it through the trunk. So they laid the seats down. They laid two of the seats down, the passenger and middle seat and the back seat. They laid it down. And my best friend was sitting in that one seat, and my other friend was in the front seat. My mom was driving. So the way I got in was, the night before, I blew up a pool floaty. The bed kind, the one you lay down, it's a single person lay down, you know, the one that floats. So I got that from Walmart the night before. I blew it up. We put it in the car, and then I got bed pads. Bed pads, hospital bed pads. Some people refer to them as hospital bed pads, or like, I know they use it for elderly people as well, but I bought a pack of those. So I pretty much, you know, did my thing before to know what I needed. But that is bed pads. So a bed pad covered, well, we put 2 bed pads on the pool floaty. This is a bed pad. We laid them down on the pool float. 2 of them. And this side is like a gauze, cottony material. And then this side is plastic, obviously, so it doesn't go through. Similar to a sanitary napkin. So yeah. So this is what we laid on top of the pool float. And I laid on top of it. So I'm laying on top of this. So after surgery, they put you in your faja. And your dress that you came in back on top of you. So that's how you leave. So in the car, that's how I'm laying down on the pool float and the bed pads, and we're driving home. From where I live to the doctor's office, it probably was like a 25-minute drive. So every bump in the road, as I said, every stop, like pretty much you want the person to just drive slow. and like avoid any bumps, turns, anything if possible. So we're driving. So halfway into the drive, I feel my pain pills kicking in, and it relaxed me. I begin to feel soothing, like, soothe. So as I'm, relaxing more into the drive, I feel a runny feeling from under my boobs, like, but I'm laying on my stomach. So I feel like, I feel it. So I'm like, I think I'm bleeding. So, but it, bleeding is, you're going to bleed afterward. And I didn't have the tubes coming out. I didn't have drainage. I just had my incision. So I feel that sensation. So we get to my house. They open the trunk. So I have to back up. So I, get the strength. I push myself up and I back my way out. And I stand up on my feet. They help me, they hold me. And I live in an apartment complex. So I live on the second floor. So from the walk from the car to my apartment, I just feel that same running feeling. And I know that it's blood. And we're walking. We make it in the elevator. We come out to the second floor. We go. We're walking. I feel the feeling. So at this point, we're almost to my door. And I noticed that, it's bleeding. I can see it draining onto my, my socks, my compression socks. Because afterwards, you're wearing, as I said, the faja, the gown you came in. And then they added compression socks onto you. And these are what compression socks look like. And they stick, so your toes are sticking out here. And then, it goes all the way up to your calf. So that's a compression sock. So they're white. So I see the blood, because the faja comes down pretty much like almost to your knee. So I see the blood begin to run to my compression socks. And I'm like, oh yeah, I am bleeding. It's dripping. So get inside. I'm like, let me lay down. To lay down, this is how I lay down. My bed was covered with what is it called? It's called a mattress cover. A plastic mattress cover. So I put the plastic mattress cover on first. Then I bought dun, 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 dun. Can you see that? From your local dollar store, baby. I bought shower curtains. Shower curtains are very big. Obviously, you know what a shower curtain looks like. And these are the clear liners that you put inside, so, to keep the water in. So I laid 2 of these on my bed. 3 of them. We did 2 rows, and then we put a one in the middle, just for that extra protection. And I laid on top of that. And that's how I was laying when I first got home. So I'm just pretty much laying down flat like this on my bed, on my belly. And I'm in pain, so I don't care to move. So I get in a comfortable position, and I'm pretty much just right there. So I'm just laying there. I'm in pain. My friends are coming in. They're like, are you okay? How do you feel? And I was like, why did y'all let me do this? Because I was in so much pain. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect it to hurt this bad. So, I'm just like, I just feel so like beat up. So I'm laying there. And my mom's like, you gotta eat. You're taking those pain pills. You can't have an empty stomach. So she makes me some soup. And I come from a Caribbean background. So my mom is Bahamian and Haitian, and my father is Jamaican. So my mom, she threw down, made me some good old soup. And they brought me the soup. They were trying to eat it. I was trying to eat it. I couldn't even lift my hand, let's be real, to eat the soup. So they were literally spoon feeding me. So between my mom, my best friend, and my boyfriend, they're like trying to get me to eat, drink water, pretty much keep myself hydrated while taking these very strong pills. So as I'm trying to get something down, I start to get hot flashes, baby. So I'm like, I'm hot. Fan me. So I'm like telling them to grab magazines, books, whatever was there, fan my face. I'm hot. So they turn the AC, they make it cold. And I'm like, no, like I'm hot. Like this is not, like I can't, I feel like I'm laying down and I feel like I'm going to pass out. So I'm like, I need a fan. So I just keep fanning myself. My boyfriend runs to the store. He gets a fan, comes back, plugs it up, and I have a fan blowing air directly into my face. And this made me feel good, and a cold bottle of water. So at this point, I'm like slowly sipping, laying there, sipping water, like drooling, like girl, like hot mess. But yeah, so I have that hot flash. So I make it through that. And I'm just like laying there, and people are texting me. I got my phone next to me, and I'm like in and out. So I'm like, responding to people saying, hey, I'm good. And then I'm like in the middle of it, falling asleep. So when I finally wake up later towards that night, I'm like up. I'm like, whatever. So they're keeping me on the schedule of my pain pills, of taking them, when I need to take them, trying to eat when I can. I couldn't really eat nothing. So now, like midday, I'm like, I gotta pee. I get up, stand up, and I'm just like nauseous. Like, I was like, lay me back down. So I'm holding my pee and I'm like, put me back down, because me getting up too quickly made me feel like sick. So that was that. And I end up throwing up after I used the bathroom. And I think that was just because the pain pills were so strong and it upset my stomach, and I didn't have enough food in my system, to balance it out. So I think that was just my body's way of saying, like, yeah, no, that's not happening. So night 1 complete. Day 2, I wake up, they tell me to come back same day, same time. So I'm back at my doctor's office, same way, ride, change pads, same ride, back to the doctor's office. I get there, I tell them I'm there. I tell them that I'm there for my follow-up appointment. So, they take me into the room, the nurse checks me, she's like, okay, take the gown off, because you can't take a shower. So I'm literally still covered bloody in my faja, my compression socks, and like, so, but obviously I put a new gown on. I'm not going to walk around with that one, but you can't take the faja off. So I have the faja with my new dress on, and, she tells me to take the dress off. So this was the first faja that I had. So imagine this, covered in blood. But my mom is the real MVP, because, baby, she did her thing and got it squeaky clean, not a spot left. And that was that. So, yeah. So when I got there, she takes the faja down. She's peeling it off, and I'm just like, ooh. She's peeling it off. And she checks my incision. She's like, oh, you look good. Yeah, everything's good. She changed my gauze. They put some abdominal pads inside of the faja when they do the surgery afterward, and that's like some gauze, like, just to pretty much catch some of the blood. So she changes the gauze, she puts it back on me, and she puts it back on me, and she was like, you're good. And I was like, can I take a shower? She was like, any questions? Yeah, shower. When? She was like, okay, you can go home, you can take a shower today. And I was like, okay, good. So yeah, so from there, she was like, once I take a shower, I could go ahead and, add my foams and all those things in and move forward with my process. So went home, ride back home, same way, laying down on my stomach, roll back home, come home, peel off this bloody faja, and my mama did her magic. And by the way, she washed it with, she filled the tub, she put peroxide, baking soda, and detergent, liquid laundry detergent into the tub, and just was like her old school island girl things, and got that thing done. And as I took a shower, that was hanging to dry, and I put on my second faja, because I purchased another faja in advance, because I knew after surgery that that my faja would be bloody, because I did ask prior to, and I got a black one because I felt like black is better. So at this point, I wasn't really bleeding anymore. So that first whole day, yes, like we changed the bed pads that day, maybe like 4 or 5 times. And not saying that they were covered all the way in blood, but they had blood, a good amount of blood on them. And the second day after the next morning after my surgery, 24 hours, I took a shower. After the shower, I put my abdominal pads back in, I put those back in. I did ask her for an extra pair, because I knew already I was going home to take a shower, and I wanted to have everything on me fresh. So I did ask her for that. So after the shower, it's faja, and inside my faja, around my abdominal area, I had the gauze, and then lipo foam. Mine's a little beat up, but I had lipo boards, the foam boards, and I cut these trying to make them fit. But yeah, you can cut them to shape. As you're wearing them, you'll see exactly what I mean. How you want them to fit. So I had one in the back, two on the side, and one in the front. And me personally, the one in the front, what I noticed is every time I would shower, I would switch the direction of it, just because I wanted it to like get, have full foam all around. And that's what led me to my DIY, chopping my boards into two, so that I could get the full coverage at every angle. So yeah, I had the boards in, and then so this is what you look like with all the boards around. So this, and then you got your boards. So this board was my abdominal board. Let me let you see that. This is like a foamy, cushiony feel. And then this has like a hard board inside of it. And that is in the front. So that's on top of the foams. And then there's also more. And these are what they package by. I'll add the link below for all these items so that you can see exactly where I got them from and their prices and the information, in regards to the products. And this is a backboard. So on top of that foam in the back of you got this going on too. So that's the outside, the inside, and that's like a curve situation. So you arch in the back, arch in the back, well, yeah, so that's that curve in there for the arch in your back. Arch in your back. And there's one more baby. Here she is. This one. So, boom. I fluctuated between these two as backboards. So I wore my boards in the order I showed you, which was this in the back, this in the front, and then foams, and then faja. So you fighting, you hook it all on top of that. So I wore that way for about 3 weeks, and then as my swelling went down, I began to notice I wanted to focus into a certain area, and that's what led me to upgrading to this foam. So after surgery, you taking your pain meds, eating, staying hydrated, drinking your water. You really have to drink a lot of water to avoid swelling, to help it aids, helps with swelling, drinking a lot of fluids, water, and particularly, and also taking arnic tablets. This pretty much helps with bruising and swelling back. Can you see that? Okay, yeah, so taking these tablets as well. So I had all that going on, pain meds, managing that, and drinking my water, and taking my tablets. And these tablets pretty much, because you're beat up, so you're bruised everywhere. So I was bruised all on my side of my breast, underneath my breast, abs. I had a few bruises there, a little bit on my butt, not much on my butt, and a little on my back, from them doing the lipo. So that helps with the bruising and the swelling. So taking that, and I was doing that, and I was getting my massages. I had my massage therapist was coming to my house, which was a plus, and I didn't have to keep getting in the car. So I felt like a spoiled brat, baby. She was coming to me every day. We would have our time scheduled for the day. Me specifically, I did a massage every day for the first 30 days after my surgery. So the first 30 days after, I got a massage every day. So I was getting my massages. They were about an hour long. She was, using the oils, doing that. They were painful. I want to say for the first week, it was painful. After the first week, the second week, it felt more like a good sensation, like I needed that. So you get used to it at first, and I was doing that, getting my massages, drinking water, and walking around, pretty much trying to get, help my body heal and getting the fluids out. We did that. I also did change compression socks as well. I got a black pair, and they were like with a zipper, because I didn't, you know, like the white, because I did want to go outside a little bit. I was tired in the house, so baby, I was like going to my shop, you know, walk around, go to the store a little bit, with my fall hat, my little dress on top, and my compression socks. So I wore my compression socks for 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks, and after that, I didn't need to wear them anymore. And my swelling was going down good. My massages, everything was, you know, seemed okay, going good, well. And, you know, I just kept checking my results every day in the mirror. Every time, you know, after my massage, I would shower. I'm looking in the mirror myself. And my massage therapist recommended that I start doing the taping method. Now, this method, to me, I was like, taping method? What's that? And she, here we go, found it. Okay, so she made me get this sports tape. Now, me personally, I have 2 children and I have stretch marks. So me doing lipo, now I have a little loose skin, and, you know, want to fix that too. So she recommended that I put this tape on. Well, she did it. She told me to purchase it. I got the tape. Had someone go get. Had my boyfriend go get the tape. And this is what the tape looks like. It's a strip with adhesive on the back, and she pretty much taped my stomach in the up direction, and then across like this and tight. And then after, I would put all my foams and boards and faja back on, and I did this every day. She did this. She would change the tape every 2 days because it would begin to peel off. So I had to keep the tape off. So I showered with the tape on. She would do the massage with the tape, and you know, they're using oils, and that's how the tape would come off. It would eventually begin to come loose after a shower. You know, the ones that were loose would hang. I would peel them off, and by the time I seen her again, whatever came off, she'd take it off, and then whatever was still stuck, she'd leave it and then add more. And, you know, that we repeated that process, you know, until I didn't need to do it anymore. And that was something else that also helped with that. So, move forward to me about 2 months post-op. At this point, I'm getting massages, not every day at this point now, but maybe like twice a week at this point. And I noticed that I was getting some hard spots in my stomach, and I could see, like, visually see the hard spots on my stomach, and I was like, okay, I think that this may be fibrosis. What I heard, you know, I became familiar with it from doing my research on the BBL process, and I became familiar with that term through my research, and I was immediately alarmed, like, okay, I think this is fibrosis, because I feel the tension, and it also has a little pain to that area, and it's, you know, swelling and feels hard. So I let my massage therapist know that that was happening, and she kept telling me that I needed to drink more water, drink more water, drink more water, drink more water. So at this point, I'm stressing myself out, and I'm like, dang, I am not consuming enough water in a day, and I'm going to ruin my body, and, you know, because I'm going to have these hard spots in my stomach. And I'm like down in water at this point, drinking gallons of water, trying to soften these hard spots, to the point where it made me second guess my massage therapist. So I wanted a second review. So I found another massage therapist, and I went to her, massage therapist, and I went to her, and she did my massage. That massage therapist was very rough. She worked, she was home based, so I had to go to her. So I had someone drive me to her, and she was really rough. She hurt me more than anything, and I knew that I had to find somebody else that would continue my massages from there. So from there, I tried another massage therapist, and she was good. So from there, I rocked out with my third girl, and she would come to me, do my massage, and I was getting them twice a week, and she was able to soften up my fibrosis, or get rid of it, however that goes. But yeah, she was using woods and scrapers and beads and oils. I believe she used 3 different oils and creams. I felt hot, cool, minty, fresh. Like, it was just a whole experience, and I knew that she was a good massage therapist because no one else had done all the steps that she did, and I continued to do that, and my fibrosis softened, and I began to have the more smoother appearance that I wanted. And from there, I stopped getting massages. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was starting to move back into the process of being normal again. And I still wasn't driving at this point, but I was being chauffeured around, honey. And I was just in the back, and I used to get in the car, I used to get on my knees, and I would either go in the front passenger seat, and I would turn around and hold on the seat and look in the back, or I would go in the back seat and hold on to the back of the seat so I could look forward. So that's how I rotated, pretty much getting around. And I could work because I do hair and I stand up. So that wasn't a problem. So I got back into working, you know, moving around, healing process is good. And at first I was like, I don't think my booty is big enough. And I was like, I feel like I could have used a little more fat to transfer. So I'm like, okay, let me do some more, you know, I'm looking into research, watching videos, you know, trying to find responses. And that's when I found out what the fluff fairy was. So I'm like, fluff fairy, okay, fluff fairy. This is the fluff period, of which pretty much when you first have your surgery, your booty is a little hard. It's not like rock hard, but it's firm. And the fluff period is when it softens. So every day I'm in the mirror like, God dang, like, you know, I got a little bubble, but I want it to be dragging a wagon. So I'm like, you know, anxious every day. You check my body out, like, you know, looking at it to see, has my fluff fairy visited me yet? And she ain't show up. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? Let me be grateful, because I was very much SpongeBob, and now I'm giving Coca-Cola. So I'm gonna appreciate these curves and these hips, but my booty is not giving what I needed to give. So I'm just like, okay, feed the fat. Feed the fat. So I'm eating. I'm like, let me stay on top of my meals. Let me make sure I'm doubling up. I was even drinking Ensures. I'm like, let me feed this fat. So when she does visit me, that booty gonna be booty, and it's that thing gonna be thangin'. So I'm like, yeah, okay, let's feed the fat. So I'm eating full meals. Like I'm having my boyfriend bring me like Haitian food. If you Haitian, D sauce-pois, like I need that. And I'm like also eating Jamaican food. Like I'm like, I need some hearty food to feed this fat. So I'm eating those foods, and I'm just like, okay, Fluff Fairy, where you at, girl? So I'm like, you know, I snuck out. I went outside with my friends, and we went to the club, and I didn't sit down, but I'm just in there and, you know, taking videos, and I'm just like to myself, like, this body is not giving what I spent. And I'm just like trying to keep it together and remain focused that the Fluff Fairy will eventually visit me. So I'm like, okay, where's she at? Where's she at? Time is moving. And I'm like, okay, no, this is not what is, no. Wearing my faja. As I was wearing my faja, I got it adjusted. So yeah, when you're wearing it, you will notice that it becomes loose. You get comfortable in the hooks, and you have to get it adjusted. Instead of buying a smaller faja every time, what I did was find a local seamstress and have her take in the size every time, and she specialized in faja customization. So it was, you know, very smooth process with her doing that. And after that, maybe I want to say we're now 4 months in, and I switched to a smaller faja, something more comfortable, just so I could, you know, have more options to wear and like wear my other clothes. So I got this one, and as I said, I'll put the link below for all these items where I got them from. But this one doesn't have the shoulder situation, so it stops under your breast line, and it does the compression from there down. So I started wearing this one, and I would alternate between the ones, you know, whatever suited what I was wearing at the time. And I did that 4 months, and then I started to notice my girl was sad. Fluff Fairy was here. And at this point, I feel like she came a little in a little, and she's still coming right now. She's still doing her thing to me right now. So I started to notice that I looked more curvier than I looked exact like the day after surgery versus like the first week and the first 2 weeks. I started to notice that I was like a big body Benz baby. I used to be that thing. But yeah, I started to notice that I was looking more curvier than I looked in the beginning. And every time I got dressed, it was just like giving and giving and giving to the point where it was like, oh yeah, okay, she here. So now I'm like, okay, my body is starting to do what I wanted to do, and I'm gonna just be patient and see what it gives. So at this point, I'm like, okay, she gave me a little something. Everybody is like, dang, you look good. And, you know, it's like, dang, you look so natural. It doesn't look like you did, you know, much. Because I didn't want to look like I got a big bubble butt. But I also wanted to look like snatched, like I said. So everybody was like, dang, it's so natural. Like, your thigh, your ass, your booty to thigh ratio is there. Like, you know, it's given. Like, you know. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel, you know, good about this. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. So now I'm just anticipating to see what my body looks like a year from now. And everyone keeps telling me that's when the fluff fairy really like show out. So I'm like, now, first I'm thinking, okay, like in the first, because when you do, like they tell you your fluff fairy is going to come within the first 3 to 6 months. But then I learned going through those months that she visits you again in a year. So we waiting on her now again. So like, I'm like, okay, feed the fat. But now I have to work out. So now I wear my faja, I wear my trainers, and I'm going to let you see how that whole process goes in my next video. But pretty much that was my experience all in all. I'm just happy that I had a good experience. I survived that experience. You know, I had a healthy healing process. I'm just blessed that the experience was good all in all. You know, I didn't have to worry about, you know, infections or all the side effects that you read about when you are trying to get a BBL, because people do make you scared and they do talk you out of it. And then you do see that some people do unfortunately lose their lives because of these surgeries. But when you are considering surgery, you need to honestly ask yourself, is this something that you want to do for you and you're not doing it for somebody else? And don't lie on your medical records or your history, or when they ask you certain things, to be honest, because you just need to take the steps necessary so that you can get prepared healthy and have a safe surgery. Like, you see people losing their lives and it just makes you scared. But it's like, if you want to do what makes you happy, you're gonna do what makes you happy regardless. But you know, you just got, it's a risk you're taking, but you need to be taking it because you want to take it and not letting everything else influence you. I've always known that I wanted to do it, but I prefer to wait until after I, you know, have my children. And that was just my personal choice. But everyone is entitled to their feelings and how they feel about it, or if they want to do it, or if they would never do it. But I'm just here to say that I had a good experience because I followed the information that was given to me. I followed the rules. I followed instructions. I did what I was supposed to. I ate proper foods. I took the necessary supplements. I did it by the books. And I feel like if you do it by the books and you're healthy, you should have a safe experience as well. And I just wish you the best. And I hope that you enjoyed my video, my story time, my experience. And I'm happy that you're here. I'll go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, share this with a friend, let them know they could watch this video. It's, you know, full of information. They could find out, you know, anything they need to know. Leave your questions, comments below. And thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And see you in my next video, girls.